Hello everyone, I'm Ankit and you're watching StudyIQ IAS English. In our today's video, we are going to cover a very important topic, that is cutting of undersea cables in the Red Sea region. But why are we dealing with this topic? Let me tell you, or let me give you a context. Now the notes that I will be using in this session, if you want them, you can go to a particular Telegram channel and download it. This Telegram channel is called as ATS Live. So you can go and download it, and while you're at it, please also subscribe to this channel. Now let us understand the context of why are we discussing this cutting of undersea cables, which is a very big development in the Red Sea region. Now on September the 5th, that was last week, some undersea cables that were laid down in the Red Sea region, they were cut due to a ship that collided with them. Now, as a result of this cutting of undersea cable, it led to disruption of internet in the Indian subcontinent region as well as the Middle East region. For example, internet disruptions were witnessed in countries like India, Pakistan and other Middle Eastern countries. Similarly, Microsoft, a big tech company, reported increased latency in the Middle East region. Increased latency basically means the time it takes for the signal to go and come back at the receiver is called as latency. So obviously you can understand if the internet would be disrupted, the latency would increase, and this exactly happened in the Middle Eastern region. So from this context, what do you think is important from UPSC exams perspective? First, what is undersea cables? And second, where on earth is the Red Sea region? Right? So you think this is important from your exam. But now let's see a PYQ that appeared as recently as last year in 2024. Now you're aware of that Israel since October 2023 has been involved in conflict with Iran and its proxies in the region that are known as 3H, Hamas, Hezbollah as well as Houthis. Now Houthi rebels who found themselves in a country called as Yemen, they undertook attacks on Israeli installations in Israel using the Red Sea region. And this was the reason why UPSC picked up a question on Red Sea. But was this question relating to mapping? See the question, it receives very little precipitation in any form. No waters enter the Red Sea from rivers. So basically, it borrowed the topic from the current affairs, but the question itself dealt with the static portion of geography syllabus, that is the geography and physiology of the Red Sea. So simply by reading the newspaper, you need to understand this won't be enough for you to write the prelims. You need to have a 360-degree approach in your any topic that you cover, be it a static topic or be it a current related topic. So suppose if Red Sea is in news, you need to know where Red Sea is located in the globe. Similarly, you also need to know what are the geographical characteristics of Red Sea, and we'll find out exactly that in our today's video. Okay. Let us first start our today's discussion by getting an easier topic underway, that is what is undersea cables. Now you need to understand internet connects the entire globe. So it is quite easy for you to understand that if you have to connect two cities in one country, it is very easy that you lay down optical fiber cables and you can easily even connect internet through satellite based internet. But you also need to understand internet also transmits from one country to another, one continent to another, or one hemisphere to another hemisphere. So how do you think the internet signals are transmitted? Now one easier way to transmit the electrical signals or internet signals is through satellite. But you need to understand the amount of signal that needs to travel from one continent to another can be quite a lot of signals. So using satellite is not a very cost effective and logistically effective measure, because you need a lot of satellites to carry the global internet data. So the easier way forward is to lay down optical fiber not through land but through sea route. And this is what submarine cables or undersea optical fiber cable exactly do. They carry the global internet and communication traffic, that is transmission of electric signals, which are electric form of binary signals, using optical fiber cables. Now these optical fiber cables, in comparison to the earlier copper cables, they are more faster and more efficient in terms of transmission of signals and lesser loss of signals with respect to time. So optical fiber cables are the ones that are laid down undersea. Now you need to understand, whenever you are laying down optical fiber cables in the sea, you can't put those cables naked. Similarly, you'll have to reinforce them using certain kind of protective layers, and for that we use polythene, copper, steel wires as well as petroleum jelly in a way to reinforce and protect the optical fiber cable from corrosion that will happen from the saline seawater. So this is a cross section image that you can see. This part, let me change the pen color. This part is exactly the optical fiber cable, whereas there are number of protective layers attached to it in order to protect the optical fiber cable from damage of the saline seawater, right? So this is basically optical fiber cable, and this is the entire cross section of the undersea cable that you see undersea. Similarly, these optical fiber cables laid across the oceans have proven to be a backbone of global internet and connectivity. They handle as much as 99% of total internet international traffic, which is quite a lot. So you need to understand, if any damage or disruption happens to these undersea cables, automatically it will negatively impact the supply and efficiency of internet across the globe. And this is what happened due to the disruption that happened in Red Sea. Now you need to understand, optical fiber cables in sea are laid down at two different depths. First, the more deeper ones are called as deep sea optical cables, which are simply laid down on the seabed, which can be as greater as more than 2 kilometers deep in the seawater. So you can understand, these kind of deep sea underwater cables are less prone to human and man-made interferences. But there are certain cables that are also laid down in shallow waters, which are buried using ship which has plow-like machine installed into them. Now these deep sea cables or shallow cables, although they are protected, but they are very vulnerable to human interventions. For example, ships, they might collide with them, leading to destruction and cutting of sea cables, which happened exactly in the Red Sea region. Similarly, we have also seen instances where sharks have eaten these cables. So this leads to disruption and cutting of cables due to human and man-made interventions, right? Now the next question is, who owns these cables? These cables earlier were owned by group of telecom companies. Now these days there are big internet companies like Google, Meta, etc., Microsoft, right? So these days even the big tech companies own a significant chunk of these optical fiber cables. For example, Meta's project known as Waterworth is world's biggest optical fiber project, which lays down more than 50,000 kilometers of undersea cables. So these are data relating to underwater cables that is important from your exams. Now let us move to the next topic, why these cables are important for India. Now you need to understand, since the time of digital revolution, India has become one of the largest market in the data markets globally. Similarly, to provide for economic services, to provide for connection with financial markets, digital economy, online payments, e-commerce services, defense communication, you need a lot of optical fibers. So in case these optical fibers are cut, this leads to a disruption effect on the economy. Similarly, these strategic cables pass through many international choke points that appear quite near to Indian waters, that is in Arabian Sea, in Red Sea, in Bay of Bengal, in Strait of Malacca. So these areas not just are strategically important for India, but also economically quite important for India as far as global trade is concerned, as far as global transmission of online data is concerned. Now these days, newer challenges have emerged. I told you earlier, the optical fiber cables, they were owned by telecom companies or a group of telecom companies. Now these optical fiber cables increasingly are now being owned by big tech companies, all of which are non-Indian in nature. So you need to understand, India is dependent on these big tech companies for its online connectivity, which raises the questions of data sovereignty. First, that you don't have the control of your own data. It has been transmitted using networks of companies which are not Indians. Similarly, this also emerges to a concern of digital colonialism, whether these big data companies, which are Western owned companies, they control our internet. So these are the issues relating to how these kind of online disruptions, internet disruptions affect India negatively, its economy, its sovereignty. Understood? Now let us move to another topic that is somewhat more important from an exam, known as Red Sea. Now, Red Sea is a semi-enclosed inlet of water which connects Indian Ocean, and it also is between two important continents, that is Asia and Africa. So this is where Red Sea is located, quite west to the Arabian Sea. Now to enter Red Sea, you need to go through Gulf of Eden, enter into Bab el-Mandeb Strait. Bab el-Mandeb Strait divides Yemen with Djibouti, and as you enter Bab el-Mandeb Strait, you enter into the piece of water that is known as Red Sea. Now, the significance of Red Sea is quite important for countries like India. For example, if the ships, they have to navigate through Mediterranean Ocean, you have two ways. You can take a longer route through the south of Africa known as Cape of Good Hope route, which you can understand is very time taking and longer route in question. So the easier way for your ship to reach Mediterranean waters is to travel through Red Sea and enter into the Suez Canal here, which is located very close to Sinai Peninsula. So to go through Mediterranean Sea or to connect Mediterranean Sea with Arabian Ocean, you need to flow through Red Sea. So any disruption that happens in the Red Sea region, like we witnessed the attacks conducted by Houthis on Israel, led to disruption of global trade. And that is why Red Sea is very important from your exam. So what is important from Red Sea perspective is the geography of this region. You need to understand this is sandwiched between two continents, Asia towards its northeast and towards its southwest, it is the continent of Africa. It is surrounded by many countries which we'll understand. Similarly, Red Sea, after it ends here, it divides into two different pieces of water bodies which is separated by this Sinai Peninsula. Now, Sinai Peninsula is a sovereign territory of Egypt. Now, Sinai Peninsula divides this Red Sea into Gulf of Suez and Gulf of Aqaba. So the more important facts that you need to remember about Red Sea is that it is connected to the Arabian Sea and Indian Ocean through Gulf of Eden and the narrow strait of water known as Bab al-Mandeb Strait. And the northern portion of Red Sea is further bifurcated by Sinai Peninsula, into the Gulf of Aqaba and Gulf of Suez, where it is connected to the Mediterranean Sea via the world famous Suez Canal. We have already done Suez Canal, I think. This video would be also available in our video section. So this is the geographical features about Red Sea. Now the countries which are bordering Red Sea are basically 6 countries. There is a very simple abbreviation that you need to understand. Yes and Seed. Yes here means Yemen and Saudi Arabia. Seed here means Sudan, Egypt, Eritrea and Djibouti. So these are the 6 countries that borders the Red Sea region. The abbreviation is quite simple, Yes, Seed. Now the islands are also very famous in this region. There are famous islands like Tiran Island, which is located near the mouth of Gulf of Aqaba, and Shadawan Island, which is located at the very entrance of Gulf of Suez. So these are the important water bodies, countries that are located quite near to the Red Sea region. But now going back to the PYQ, do you think even with this information you will be able to solve the PYQ? The answer is no. So you need some physiological and geographical aspects of Red Sea also besides the mapping part. So what you need to understand about Red Sea is that it is world's warmest sea, right? It contains some of the world's hottest and saltiest seawater, and this is due to many factors. First of all, the temperature in the region is very high because it is located quite close to major deserts in the world, and because of that the amount of solar insolation is quite high, leading to high evaporation of the water. Similarly, this region witnessed very less amount of rainfall, and similarly there is no significant river or stream of water which is draining into the sea. So that is why the fresh water intake in this water body is quite less, whereas the evaporation is quite high, and this leads to increase in amount of salinity of the waters of Red Sea, and this is one of the most important characteristics of Red Sea that you need to remember. In addition to that, where do you think the name Red Sea comes from? This comes from color changes that is observed in the waters of Red Sea, and this color change is due to a particular algae known as Trichosedium erythraeum, which turns this water from its blue-green color into a reddish brown color. And this algae, its extensive blooms is the reason why this water body is named as Red Sea, because normally the color of water is blue-green, not red. This red happens because of a particular algae, and because of this bloom, the given color of this red becomes Red Sea, right? Now, before solving the PYQ, I wanted to let you know something. Now, today is 11th of September. So from tomorrow onwards or after tomorrow, the prices of all the products or all the courses that are offered on StudyIQ IAS website would increase. So you have only up till tomorrow to take admissions at a discounted rate. Now please remember, you can take admissions to any of our courses, be it UPSC related courses, optional subjects, state PCS courses or judiciary, but please do not forget to use the code ATS Live, because this code gets you maximum discounts on not just one but all the courses of StudyIQ. Okay. Now let's see if we are able to solve this question. Consider the following statement: the Red Sea receives very little precipitation in any form. I told you Red Sea is one of the saltiest waters in the world, and this is because of high evaporation and less amount of drainage of fresh water in the Red Sea. And this less water drainage is because no significant river or stream enters into the Red Sea. Similarly, this region is one of the hottest in the world, is close to the major deserts in the world in the Middle Eastern region. Because of that, the insolation is very high and precipitation, that is rainfall, is very less. So first statement is right, and no waters enter Red Sea from major rivers. The answer is both of these statements are right. And which of the statements given above is or are correct? The answer would be both 1 and 2 are correct. Right? So this is the correct answer. And why have we been able to solve this question? Because we took a 360-degree approach. We borrowed a topic from current affairs and I gave you static portion of the syllabus along with it also. Right? Now, before ending the session, I want you all to answer the correct question or of this practice question with reference to optic fiber cable. Which of the following statement is or are correct? These are pulses of light to transmit data over a long distances. They are immune to electromagnetic interferences and allow higher bandwidth compared to traditional copper wires, and they can be laid only on water, not on land. Please let me know what is the correct answer in the comment section. The ones who answer it correctly would get a thumbs up from my side. Also, please subscribe to our channel for more such informative videos, because you need to know just simply reading newspaper won't suffice as far as current affairs is concerned. So this is all from my side for today. Please have a very good day.